Approve of the consideration adoption of last month's minutes of the meeting. I need a motion to approve or correct.
Go ahead.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we adopt the meeting minutes from March 17, 2027. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, which are none, so that's approved. Okay, well, it's 9:05 and that's fell at about the right place. This is a public hearing on the Cox J drain, looking to increase the assessment from 95 cents per acre to the $5 minimum and move it up to 40 per acre and a $200 minimum. And Max, do you want to give us the information?
Yeah, we've had a couple landowners. One was Jason Doctor, Tom Bernard. They've requested that we do replace the tile. There's a lot of problems up on the top end. The bottom end is probably not as bad, but I believe we probably have some people that want to talk about it. And what we do is, right now we have, the tile is 13,589 feet. The first phase we would do would be 2,000 feet. We would start at the bottom, the open ditch. It's a 30-inch down there now, and then we would run some better numbers once we figure it, but it'll either be a 36 or a 42. We had a total for the first phase of 91,000 for 36 inch and 105,000 for 42.
Okay, any other things we need to know? Public have some questions or comments? We're here to hear you.
When you say them numbers, is that just for the material or is that for labor too?
That was labor and backfill material. That is all 3-4 things in there to get that first 2,000 feet. Labor will fluctuate a little, pipe will fluctuate, stone.
We had one objection, I believe. Any comments on that? Anybody here to comment on that? Wally?
After the first 2,000 feet.
I'm sorry. Could we, if you're able, come up to the microphone, state your name and address if you want to. That way the microphone picks you up in the stream.
Where do you want me to go?
Just right up to this microphone here.
Over there? Okay.
I think so.
After the first 2,000 feet, if you start out with a 42, then what's you going to break it down to?
We'll have Brad, our engineer, run the number and the other watersheds up there, and we'll figure out where we can start dropping down as sections go on as we move further. I don't know at this point if we have to stay at 42, the 2,000, but that will get us to the 2,000 feet. So after that, we'll look to see where we have to go, what sizes.
That's not very far.
Right.
2,000 feet.
Right, that's just our first phase. I'm not saying we're gonna drop down after that. We'll probably have to get past if it's the Jackson.
The Jackson D, that first one up there.
Yeah. So, yeah, it may run clear up to the Jackson D before we can downsize it.
Well, that's what I was wondering.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's just our quote for the first 2,000.
I was wondering because I have water come from the north, north of 14, and what, good, maybe 220 acres spread around
Okay.
there. And part of my farms, some
Right.
of my farms. See, and it goes in that Jackson's ditch, then goes down in the 24, where that cement box is.
Yep.
And I think you should run something like the 42
All the way
to
up there.
that cement box.
Okay.
Because you got that other water coming from the north.
Yeah.
There's water sitting there on the north side of 14 now, yeah.
Right.
See,
Yeah, we'll run all the numbers on the watershed and see what size it needs to be and run it as big as we have to, as far as we have to.
okay.
Either one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Come on up. Thank you.
If you could, I know your dad didn't, but just say your name for the.
My name's Kirk Trabert, and I wrote a letter to you folks, but hopefully you got it.
Yep, it's right here.
You can see my parcel of land out there. You could take my name off there, you can probably see what I'm talking about better if it's possible, but it's up there at the very top. And that's a 73-acre parcel, and that map's just flat out wrong. Okay. I agree, I'll agree with the stuff to the west, that thin area that goes across fairly close to the property line on the topography, and elevations and all that stuff. But once you get, and what that woods, part of it goes to the Jackson or Cox Ditch, whatever you want to call it. But man, that stuff on the north side of that woods, that's completely wrong. And I'd like someone to check it out, because if this is a 20-year project, which it probably will be, that's going to cost me $22,000, where I think it should only cost me about 11 or 12. I don't know how you even came up with those elevations.
It would have been the contours that were had at the time of the original development of the watersheds, which I don't know what year that was. That was before I was working here.
Well, they're wrong. I mean, they're just flat out wrong. in my opinion.
So-
I mean, you could drive out there, me and my brother drove out there, when was it, Mark, last week one time? And we're sitting there, how is that even possible? Now, I'll agree, there is, on that south end of that farm, there is water going, I mean, there could be water going through there, if I wouldn't have ditched it, you know what I'm saying? But it's all been ditched and it's going into that feedler ditch now, the whole farm. There isn't even a tile, when I did the systematic, that even went into that farm from the Cox ditch or the Jackson ditch. But they're just, it's not, whoever did that was wrong. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I don't think it's fair that I gotta pay for 27 acres on a 73-acre farm when it's only probably at the most 12 acres. And I might be a little bit high on that. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you.
Max, what do you want to do with this? Do you think we need to? You got
Mark,
nothing?
do you have something you want to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, when they, my name is Mark Trabert. When on that Cox ditch, I checked the elevation of it here a week or two ago. I mean, I didn't use it, I used the GPS thing. Anyways, I know how much fall there is from Washington Road where it crosses to that cement box back there on my dad's.
Right.
It's 6.6 feet, that's what it is.
Okay.
Now, when you bring a new tile in there, surely you've got to bring this thing in deeper and less fall.
Right.
Because otherwise, there's some low ground back there that it's not gonna do
Right,
much for it.
we'll bring it in, once we get to that point, we'll get out there and survey it, dig it up, whatever we have to do. We'll get to that point and then see what like I said, what size tile we need, and that's gonna depend on what kind of fall we have, and then we'll go from there. So, yeah, we'll try to start it deeper right at the open ditch, or if we can or can't, and we may have to run it flatter to pick up those low spots.
And there should be some sort of I know you're not gonna even get to that spot from the first phase, but there should be some sort of a structure put in there, whether you throw a big T in the pipe and bring it up so you can observe this thing.
At the concrete,
Yeah,
where it is now.
every so
Yeah.
often, a standpipe of some sort where you
Yeah,
cross the
we'll
roads.
put standpipes in, we could put something back there.
Yeah, that's where that other ditch dumps in,
Right.
is at that junction point. And it'd be nice just to be able to see, that way you can
See
tell
how-
how that tile's running.
Right, yeah. No, we'll take all that in consideration, figure all that out when we can move forward, but right now, like I said, we're just
Yeah,
trying
I know
to,
it's in preliminary.
yeah, so,
All right.
we do have a lot of water standing up there, and, yeah, it's worse probably now than it was.
All right, thank you.
Topography, are you gonna look into that, or would you look into that?
Yeah, we'll look
All right,
into it.
okay.
We'll look at the new contour map we have, and we can also go out there if we
Sure.
question it. But,
Okay.
some of these flat areas, it's hard to tell where exactly to draw the line.
Yeah, okay, good. Sir?
Tom Bernhard, and my question is, how far back up are you going on that east? You going across the Meridian eventually, or?
Yes, we will, we'll just take it as far as we, need to go. And if it's still bad, we have problems up there, we'll continue to
Yeah,
move.
mine up there, going to those low spots, it's broke down every year, we're fixing top.
Right, so that's where and as Mark said, we'll try to pick up the low ground so we can make sure we have enough cover on those areas also.
And then, this maintenance fee, how many years are you looking at doing this?
I think,
Roughly 10 to 15 years to get the entire tile complete.
Sorry. And then, on doctors, are you looking at trying to do something in the near future? On the west side of Meridian, the water's still standing there from the other day?
I was out there a few weeks ago. I saw a few spots where there was collapsed tile. Maybe if it dries up, it rained shortly after that. It was muddy when I was out there. There's a lot of water, but there are a few spots that maybe something through there is holding back. Maybe we can run the locator through there and see if we can find some blockage or another suck hole or something, and see if we can get that water moving. But
East of there. And
it's
not very-
such a mess through there. I really don't know where to start out there.
How much covers over the tile on Doctor there? Very much at all?
No.
What size is it there?
I don't remember it might have been maybe a 15 out there, maybe. I don't think it was that big even. I don't know. It's everything I've seen out there has been repaired and collapsed, and
it's muck on Doctor. Is it muck on you then? On
No, I don't have any.
I guess they did. We have what they went through around Doctors.
It's
Remember
probably
that?
on the tile project.
On that low ground, I think we did have a tile size on our tile layer through Doctors that someone had replaced at some point.
This is 16 on my sheet, I guess.
Oh, yeah, it could be on the new tile.
And then that across the road, I don't know whether they go through that low spot or they pull it on the side of it, or.
Looks like it ends right at that low spot
Yeah, I
on
believe
the east side of the road.
I believe they went around that low spot there in Doctors, is what we've been told. So,
But that was 1976.
yeah, so that was 16 inch, yeah. But that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's just a turn curve.
And we can try to get out there and see if we can, I don't want to put a bunch of time and money into it when we're trying to start at the bottom, but we
But
can
I
try.
have to wait 10, 12 years.
Right. We can get out there and try to do some exploratory and see if we can get that water moving. But what is dug up on his property is a mess. So,
Any other comments from the public? Yes, come on up.
Corbin Stolf on Meridian, just on the south side of that screen there. I was curious about a private tile, if any, because it doesn't come towards mine. I got that wet hole that lays. We did have a guy dig that up, and it was a 10-inch clay tile, which was fairly good shape. It did have a little belly to it, but it was only running about an inch. I got to depend on Doctor, once we run that tile in 10 to 12 years, to go onto his property to even tie in the benefit about any of it. I didn't know as far as any private tile come across.
We don't have a record of it, and then
Sure.
we wouldn't,
But I gotta depend on the tap, or if we change elevations of it, if that even tapping it back in being any good. I didn't know if bringing the tile down, because nothing in my property touches or even close to the Cox tile. So
you would have to get an easement with the, with your neighbor's land, Doctor
Sure.
or Traver to convey it
it's,
down.
12, 15 years, about 15 grand, which is nothing compared to some, but and I still have to run my own private tile at that point, so it's actually no benefit to me.
You're still benefited, because the water that hits your ground still gets there.
That is the
Eventually,
low hole,
but-
if that tap goes to nothing, then it's not good. It's just, I might as well.
They're gonna hook it in. That's
Yeah,
not.
change elevations. The hook
It'll
in
be,
may not
the new
matter.
one would be lower.
It'll be lower.
Lower, so it gets more fall then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
we
should
should.
drain better.
We should be below.
Unless we're on his low side, it's all collapsed. We ripped all the trees out anyhow. Then if the hook in don't matter, I gotta pay to fix it on his as well.
Well, you should share it if it's on both of you, is how you do it.
Yes. When they go through and they will hook up the tap, like I said, we can make sure we know that tap is important. We can try to locate it beforehand possibly.
Right.
Make sure it does not get missed.
Yeah.
Because they get missed once in a while. And we'll just go from there.
Any other comments from the public? All right, what's your?
Yeah, we'll have one more.
Got one more? Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, go ahead.
My name is Karen Dewey, and address is 118 East State Road 14. And my question is, behind our house we have wetlands, and how will all of this affect our wetlands?
I'm sorry, whereabouts are you?
It's 118 East State Road 14.
I think it's about around the pond, I
East
think.
or west of
Jason's farmland is right behind.
Is that your pond there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yep,
that's
yep.
us. And the wetlands are, as you're looking at that picture, it's the little ponds there, are wetland areas.
Well, I mean, we don't know exactly where the tile's going now, but unless it goes straight through them, I wouldn't think it would drain them any faster.
And there's a tile that has had problems that's along this side of the pond, and then it goes back behind, I think. I just, so you don't think it will cause more drainage from the wetlands?
No,
Or have more water, or?
we won't be in that area. We'll be to the south, I guess, of that. So
Okay.
going through there, and like I said, we don't know exactly where the tile goes now. I mean, our maps can be off. but I don't, depending on the elevation, whether or not it's gonna run any more towards the Cox and take any of that water away, I'm not sure at this point, but wanting it to stay wet or wanting it to be dry or?
Yeah, we want wetlands.
Okay. So yeah, we won't go through there. So we should be out of that area.
You're gonna rip the old tile out.
Yeah.
The new tile's going right where the old tile is, so wherever that is where the new one's
Where that
going.
yellow, almost the yellow line to the right of our pond. That's kind of where there's a tile in there.
Oh, a private tile.
I think so.
Can you put the wetlands layer on there?
Well, those are just estimations anyways. I mean, it's probably this.
Okay.
You can kind of see the dark areas. That's probably the limits of the wetland.
Probably needs. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, you have any more comments to make?
No.
All right, board, what do you want to do with this?
So I move to raise the assessment on the Cox 089-000B from 95 cents per acre to $40 an acre, and the minimums from $5 to $200 minimum.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we raise the assessment on the Cox J, and in the meantime, we'll have the engineer kind of double check the topography of that, and see what we might make an adjustment there. So all those in favor on the board to increase this assessment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. No opposed. Okay. All right. We'll get that in the works and we'll try to work with you on that. Okay. The next drain is the SCHRADER B, and there is not enough quorum here to put that up for a hearing this time. So this was going to be scheduled for the next meeting in May. Okay. Were any people here for that meeting, for that SCHRADER? Okay. Well, there's not enough people here to make a quorum because I'm on the drainage and so's the president, so we don't vote on that. The board votes on that. We don't have any interest in it. So that would be
probably
next.
still take some comment, but we wouldn't be able to.
Yeah,
vote
we
on
can
it.
do that. If you want to take some comment, we can do that. It might help us on our decision. Anybody want to make comment on the SCHRADER drain? Yes, ma'am. Come on up.
Could I ask you to turn the volume up a little bit? We're having trouble hearing, especially with the fan going here. Is it possible to turn the volume up a little?
Turn it up.
Thank you.
We can try, but I'm not sure we know how to do that. Maybe
My name's Deanne Kahn, and my residence is Kaiser Road, but I own the woods on 400 South. And I have concerns about the repair, how it became deteriorated, you know, the maintenance that has allowed it to become deteriorated. Who is it affecting? How many people are how many people are affected by this collapsed drain? There are a lot of us paying in. Who is it benefiting? All of us? One homeowner who complained, one landowner who complained. I'd like to know more details. And secondly, we are a neighborhood of retired people on fixed incomes. This doubles my tax on woods. I'd like to know how many years this will be in effect. If it's the 10 and 15 years that I just heard on the Cox drain, that's an awful lot. The Hoffman Farms own a lot of property out there. The tax bill to them could possibly be 25% of the repairs. I just think that these numbers are unfair, and I'd like to know if there were any other options for paying for these repairs. Is the only option taxing us? Because we know with federal and state dollars changing for our education system, this community will be looking at more taxes for our schools, and it just seems like the taxes are going and going and going and going and going. So I have concerns about The citizens here, they're just gonna be in a tax bind, and especially our farmers and our people who are on fixed incomes.
Okay.
So, as far as the maintenance on the tile, it's probably just ran its course. It's clay, broken down tile. We were out a while back here, had to do a couple repairs because we didn't have water draining. It's just, they've replaced up to a certain point we have new, and we just need to continue to get that so it does drain everyone's property. It helps the farmers, it helps the landowners, and if there's some minimums on there, it helps the homeowners. And so they're all paying part of the minimums also.
Well, I understand that, and my woods is wet when it rains and it's dry when it's not raining, and we've experienced some droughts in Indiana. So our climate's changing. I don't know how much water drains into there. I don't know who it's causing a problem for. There's just a lack of details about how necessary it is. So those are the things I have questions about.
Okay, so we have 300 acres in that watershed. So there's 32 assessments and 19 minimums. So that's what's bringing all the water in, and we have to be able to get rid of that water.
Can you detail that drainage? That 300 acres, can you detail that for us?
It's right here,
Okay,
this light area.
all right, can you blow that up a little bit?
What part? If we zoom in, we're gonna start losing the whole shape.
On the lower edge to the left.
Zoom into 400 south.
I think 400 south is the bottom of your screen. Okay. So you're saying all of that drainage is the SCHRADER?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that subdivision that's just north of 400 there, I know they're having problems with water standing in their yards and
Right.
in the septic area. And a lot of that water, see, Alexander owns that, and that's a pretty good sized field. And I think what you're talking about replacing is from that property line at the north side of Alexander's, correct? And then bringing it up here to catch the water that's in this area, right?
Continue on. It's
Yeah.
all been replaced to that point.
Yeah.
And we were just looking to do the next 1,600 foot, I believe.
And I live out there close to that, where that crosses Kaiser Road, and that drain runs maybe an inch or two even in the summer when it's dry. So it drains. There's some springs back in there, and I think that's what it's helping drain out from the land. But yeah, I know that there's a couple property owners out there that's talked to me about it and said that their property is flooded, especially in the rains, and it takes forever to get that water to soak back into the ground.
Can you tell us how long the assessment may last, how many years we may be assessed at this rate?
So to do that 1,650 foot of 24 inch, it looks like our estimated cost is $42,000. So with raising that, it would bring us in the $13,919. We're approximately looking at 2.5 years to get that project done. So that's the longevity of that.
Does it have to be 24 inch the whole way? Can't reduce it down?
At that point, we still need to be at 24 right there.
Well, you're at the south edge of my property now, and it works great.
Right. We may.
And you have to go a little further with 24, but
Yeah,
surely not the whole way.
Yeah, we may be able to downsize further going up. Yes.
At least half the watershed is, above where our line stops.
It's.
So
I am personally, let's just get this thing done.
Right. And that's
And raise the assessment and get it over with.
We'll get the rest of the numbers where we can actually break that down. If we can go any smaller,
Yeah.
we'll do
And I
that.
get it, you can't do crap with $15 an acre.
Right.
You don't
So-
even keep up with the inflation sometimes.
So with 2.5 years, that ought to take care of the project. Then we may collect one more year to have some money in there for repairs or maintenance. And then unless anything else needs done, we won't be collecting.
Is the south edge of your property, that fence row, is there trees in it?
No, I tore them out. Well, Alexander ripped them out, and then I had Wage dig the stumps out.
Yeah,
So there's
we're
no
gonna-
trees there.
If we're gonna do this, we don't want any trees
Yeah, I know.
within 100 feet of each side of it.
Yeah, we have some trees along where out Justin owns and going north there. There's still some trees in that line, so either we.
Small scrubby stuff.
Yeah, so either we, tear them out or we move the tile over some.
One or the other, because that ain't gonna work if we don't move the tile or tear the trees out.
Yeah,
No.
the trees aren't actually on my side, they're on SCHRADER's side, which
Okay.
I think some of that stuff has been torn out when you guys were out last week.
Yeah, some of it is, but there's still more to be tore out or.
I don't think he would have I'm not gonna speak for him, but I think he would have a problem.
Any other comment? Any other comments?
Justin, did you want to go up there?
Yeah. As far as, sorry, Justin, as far as this tile, this is the watershed, it seems like I've got a lot that's my own tile there to maintain on my own for a lot of different people, the subdivisions.
Going further south.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we determine where it actually stopped as a county. It's just like any of the other maps. They're not always on, so it may continue. So we may have to continue further onto Justin's property to pick up, because a lot of these people here, these are the people, like you said, were having trouble with their water. And it actually, I think, there's even a catch basin right here.
Somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there on Justin, so it may be running short of where it is, so we may have to extend that a little bit.
The yellow line is the best approximation or best mapping of the old compass sheets that were from the original installation of the drain. And they're not always on, but you can see where the yellow line ends compared to our line.
Okay. Yeah, and this, it might have been fine, how many years ago before all the houses were built around there.
Right.
Yeah.
All this being added, I think it's affected it some at least.
But I mean, as far as going any further than that, I don't know. I haven't ran into that yet, where we actually start and stop sometimes. We can look, if we have a contractor out there and you want to go a little further, possibly you can pay for that, or we can see, I don't know how we'll determine where the stopping point is. If the tile continues to run, do we continue to follow it and then that's our end?
We'd have to look into that because, who's to say that wasn't a private tile that connected into the end of the county tile? I think the last official record would be the latest compass sheet, and then it would just be by the length of that, and we could go off of that.
So wherever the 18 is where the 18-inch ends is where you did it then?
I'd
Or
have to
close
look
where the
at
yellow,
what
the yellow line is, the
Okay.
compass sheet.
Does that look like the lowest spot, the end of that little waterway where it's stopping?
Well, I wouldn't say that's the lowest spot through there, but, it's probably close.
That does seem to be what they did, is they went for the low spots and
Right.
ended there.
I would think you'd want to get there with the.
Yeah.
But now on to the, right underneath the 300, that could be a little bit lower there also.
Right.
I'm not real sure.
But
Okay.
at that point, that's where we have to make a decision to stop, and then if he wants to private tile to pick up that low ground, that would be up to you.
Yeah.
Or we could have a separate hearing later on to go into reconstruction to lengthen the county tile.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
Okay.
I did bring something in writing. Who can I submit that to?
Oh, I can take it and I'll get copies to everyone.
So, you know, I'm back with concerns about the people who are affected the most have the smallest plots and are paying the smallest amount, but they are affected the most. And landowners with the larger pieces of land are affected the least, but paying the most. So I just want to bring that up as a point. The housing addition, they're on lots, not acres. They're paying the least assessment, but they are having the greatest problem with the drainage.
The I mean, I think you're kind of mixing that up. They're paying, in essence, $200 an acre versus 50 or whatever. So they may be paying the most, but only if it's a 2-acre parcel versus a per
They're
acre
not paying
amount.
what the Hoffman farms are going to pay.
They're paying more per acre.
Yeah, they're paying more.
Per acre, they're paying a lot more.
Yeah.
They have a lot. They don't have acreage. They have lots in that housing addition.
So you're saying,
So Hoffmans are paying the larger share with the least amount of problems. The housing addition is expressing drainage problems, backup, sewer problems, but they're paying the least.
I'm not gonna argue some
Is that correct? If it's not correct,
You could-
educate me.
I think she's saying increase the minimum, decrease the per acre.
Is that what you're suggesting?
I want something more equitable. I'll have to think about what you just said, but I'm looking for something more equitable because the people who are having the problem and bringing this to the board aren't paying the same amount as a lot of people with all this land.
The rest-
And you've heard about private drainage, and so I just want this looked at again. Is this equitable to everybody?
So we do, just so you know, the reason that the minimum is for homes basically is more per acre typically than the farmer with 50 acres is because it has a roof, a driveway, it has things that are non-porous. So farm ground, the water just goes in the
Well, what I
ground.
hear you saying is they're gonna be charged $200 and they live on a lot. And I have acreage with no drainage problems and I'm gonna be paying $565. I don't have any problems, but I'm paying more than the person that has the problem.
I mean, you're paying more in total, but not per acre. I mean, it's,
But I'm paying more annually on my taxes than the people who have the problem.
yes.
We have
That's
to
true.
make sure that water flows through that tile. We have to have that
I totally
tile.
understand that. I'm just
And
thinking like,
everybody-
have we talked about all the options and is it equitable to everybody?
Usually people come and argue the opposite of what it is you're saying. So that's why, usually the minimums are like, why am I paying so much? Not pay, make me pay more.
Well, I'm sorry, but like on my farm, it doubles my taxes, so
Yeah.
it doubles for me. It does not double theirs. It doubles mine, which even though mine is small at, $500 some, you're gonna increase it to another $500.
Well,
It
it
still
more
taxes
doubles
Hoffman
theirs.
Farms at a huge rate.
They're going from $5 a minimum to $200, so it's
So
way
it's-
more than double.
When you have a $750,000 house and a pool, I'm not as concerned about your $200 increase as I am someone on a fixed income having theirs double. It's the math for me, that
Right.
this is what I'm paying, this is how it affects me.
How many
Like someone with
acres?
$200.
How many acres do you have?
14.
Oh, I read the wrong one. It's going from 50
The other thing I
200.
tried to kind of do is to make those minimums consistent, that as opposed to all over the place, well, somebody complains, we'll make minimums 400 on this one and 200 on this one. Every hearing today, the minimums are 200. They're consistent because then it's consistent and it basically kind of spreads the amount that ultimately a home is going to pay consistently, for the most part, throughout the county, as opposed to, being all over the place, so. We can adjust them though, sometimes we do.
I mean, thank you for your time, because, sitting out there, I don't have the knowledge that you have about the topography of the tax rates and things like that. So this is an education for me, but I'd also like to say, is this the most equitable way to get this job done?
Hopefully we'll be done in 2.5 years and we can be done with collecting your taxes. If we lower the rates, it just takes that much longer to get the money in there. Like Matt was saying, we try to keep them consistent with $40 and 200, 40 an acre, 200 minimum.
But you see what I'm saying, if Hoffmans are taxed at $5,000, in 2 years it'll be $10,000 for a $42,000 job. That does not seem balanced.
They have more acreage, that's why they're paying more.
I understand that, but to pay 25% of that, when that housing addition that has the problems will not bring in that kind of revenue.
Yeah, but the water's coming from,
It's coming from
the fields into the houses.
It's coming from
It's coming from the sky, is, we have the rain that we have, it drains, and then you have this drought and we don't have any problems, we have temporary problems caused by rain.
Well, as a fellow said that was once on the board, if we plug that tile off, we'd all have problems.
Yeah.
So we need to keep the water
We
moving.
need to keep it draining, I understand that.
And I think my personal opinion, we stay at 40 and 200 and get it done. And that's countywide. We collect that much. It used to be 20 and something, and now it's 40 and 200. And like I said, it usually goes the other way. They're mad about the 200. So,
And they're not here.
But they also have, you guys have a lot more acres, so a lot more watershed goes into that tile.
I understand that part, but they're not here either, asking about their drainage. But anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, anybody else?
I guess I have to give this to you.
Oh, do you have a letter?
Yeah.
Okay.
We mailed one in, apparently didn't make it.
Didn't know if I haven't seen it.
Good morning, my name is Sam Hall. I live on 437 400 South. I have 34 acres. I see they got 3396 there, so give or take. A couple points I would like to make. A housing addition. Let me back up. I've lived on that property since '08. The field behind the housing addition has flooded almost every year since I have been there. The county allowed at least 3 houses to be built in the floodplain with their septic systems. And, I watched it happen out my back door. They should have never been built in low ground. It always floods that area. Justin has jumped in and helped me drain some of my tiles. I'm not saying that this does need to be done to a scale. The biggest point I'd like to make is, I'm retired, I'm on fixed income. You're doubling my taxes and I have no recourse. Am I supposed to go out and get another job at 76 years old to pay my taxes? It's kind of what it amounts to. So, thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, well, we'll take all this into consideration and we'll do some checking and we'll address this at the next meeting in May, I'm sorry. Okay. The next drain hearing, run a little bit behind here, is the SMITH-BRADEN number 2. And Max, do you want to elaborate on that?
Same thing here on SMITH-BRADEN. Property owner Gary Lamley requesting to replace the tile up to State Road 14. Tile's broken down, numerous suck holes. We're just looking to raise the assessment to replace 2,100 foot 15-inch tile. We could have it done in a few years if we raise it. It's $149 or 149 acres in the watershed. So at 40 and 200 would be $7,400 a year. I think we have a estimated cost of $35,400.
Anybody here for the Smith-Braden that wants to speak? Okay. Board, what's your decision or preference on this?
You looked at it.
Yeah, it needs replaced. We'll start at the open ditch, run to 14. We may have to go, we don't know where the tile is on the other side of the 14, so we may have to go under 14 at that point. Hopefully the state will pay for that. But at this point, we're trying to get to 14 to create or fix all his problems throughout the field.
Move to.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a motion?
Yeah, I move to go with the proposed assessment of $40 per acre and $200 minimum on the Smith-Braden 644-002B number 2 drain.
Okay.
Second that.
Moved and seconded. We go ahead and approve it as presented for the Smith-Braden 2 drain. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed or none. So go ahead and take care of that. Okay. Consent for permanent structures. Got several of those here today.
Okay, so we'll start with, there's 3 from REMC. They're all located northeast of Columbia City in various spots. I have some stars here. One here, this is Chapine. This is Old Trail. And then this is 300 East down here by Lincoln Point. The one on Chapine is a new pole. The one on Old Trail is a new pole. And the one on 300 East is an existing pole being replaced.
Staff have any issues with those?
When they do that, are they putting them in the same hole or close to the same hole?
The replacements, I think, are close. I guess it depends on how they do it. If they bring a truck out, they can hold the lines up while they replace it, then I would assume they put it in the same hole.
Usually they do. We're right next to it.
We should be good.
Yeah.
Do they ever locate the tiles when they? I know we've had problems in the past with them not locating tiles, but
Not 100% they don't. They are pretty good about watching as they're drilling in case they do pull up any tile chunks.
Right.
But no, they don't. You know, they have me come out and look to see. We don't always know. Sometimes we're lucky there's a standpipe or a catch basin, but we don't always know the exact. I mean,
We can do these RMCs in one vote, or should we separate?
Probably separate.
Typically do them separate.
Separate, okay.
or are we doing all the Zayo one separate thing?
Those are all one petition. These were all.
They were separate petitions. Okay.
Okay, all right. Okay, what's your,
I move to approve the consent for permanent structure by Northeastern REMC on the plumber number 2, 545-002B as presented.
I make a motion to pass the request to install a new
Do we
pole.
need a second?
Or yeah,
second, yeah, second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we allow the permanent structure for the plumber number 2. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now the Riley HB.
I make a motion to approve the request to install a new utility pole by Northeastern RMC on the 57000B Riley HB drain.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded for the Riley HB. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, passed. And the Roach S number 1.
I move to approve the consent for permanent structure by Northeastern REMC on the 573-001B Roach S number 1 as presented.
Second that.
And moved and seconded for the Roach S number 1. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, passed. Okay, the Stangland. Max?
I'm lost.
Oh, this is Ricky Wells.
Okay. I think the Stanglin, Ricky Wells, was just to remove all of the stuff in the floodplain, which he has removed everything except for 3 sheds, and they are on skids, so they are movable if he needs to. He's good by us.
I know he's always been pretty good
Yeah,
about doing what he needed to.
he's been easy to work with. He's done everything they've asked of him, so.
Okay.
What are we approving then? He's not
Well,
building.
he had these structures that were built along the,
But they're just the sheds on
their
skids?
shed, and
So we're just
he's
approving that he can
removed the
keep them
ones,
there?
right?
He had a bunch of them that he removed
Oh.
that were kind of permanent, I guess. He's tore those all down.
So we're saying the ones that are still there he can keep, basically?
I think it's just the one in the yellow, right?
Yeah, there are 3.
Oh,
They're on
Yeah.
skids, and then he
And the
never
trees.
had, previously, back from when his house was built, he never had a consent, so all of that is now covered under this petition. So everything that he has is on this petition now.
And there's some planted evergreen trees in the buffer as well, with a 75-foot.
What's your pleasure, guys?
Is it, I mean, it's not a permanent structure, is it, or is it?
No, it's on skids, like a,
So it's not a,
Well, the house and the carport and the trees would cover.
okay, so,
I think, are we approving the carport?
Everything
And the
that
house,
is
yeah.
Oh,
within
okay.
the 75 feet. So we
Yeah.
marked that they were sheds on skids, but DNR went through with him and decided what all could stay and what couldn't, because we tabled this from a
Yeah.
few months ago.
yeah.
So this is everything that they've allowed to stay, and we have it all at least documented.
so are we just
Well, they-
acknowledging that? I don't know how to word the
Yeah.
motion, I guess.
You can
Just
word it
approve
just
the
like you normally
CFPS.
would.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I had drawn boxes around the house.
And I'll make a motion to approve the consent permanent structure by applicant Ricky Wells on the 664-031A, Stanglin number 31.
Second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded on the Stangland number 31. For all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, approved. Okay, the HIVELY D and the HIVELY D number 2. Max?
So, I think we're just looking to, he's going to build a house. We don't know exactly where the tile is back there. Have some information that it was possibly moved. We were out, I met with a contractor, they're gonna be at least, I believe, 35 foot now from our tile for the home and septic. He knows we're getting ready to have this tile replaced, so he knows not to trees or his grass or whatever, but he's looking to build a house there. The 35 foot will still give us room if we need to get in either side of the tile.
Can you zoom out? I gotta get my bearings where I'm at.
Anderson 450 is just right over here.
You're towards the bottom of it then.
Yeah, we have to start down at the Blue River. We're gonna, that's on our list next to change or to
Right.
replace. And that's a HIVELY D that we're gonna go all the way up north to replace
Right.
it. That was one we talked about here in the last meeting.
Yeah, question?
Well, he must be on the side of the hill, because that's low behind him, that houses, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
he's gonna build into the hill.
Right.
Yeah, it's all low, and it holds water further back, further
Right.
north and to the west. He'll have his septic system, it'll be on the side of the hill,
Yeah.
and the house will be in the hill also, towards the road.
Acceptable to you guys?
Yes.
All right.
As long as you don't plant trees over our tile.
Right, and we've already talked to him,
Yeah, he's gonna wait.
because he wanted to plant trees, and
Yeah.
we're not gonna plant trees.
Okay, pleasure.
I make a motion to pass the request to construct a new home by Thomas Helmkamp on the 279-00B Hively drain and the 27900B Hively D number 2.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. File consent for permanent structure for the Highway D and D2. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay. This applicant is requesting consent for permanent structure to go over the tiles, right? Or under the tiles?
Under the tiles
Under
and
the
open
tiles.
drains.
And the drains, yes. There's several of them here, but this is what, the internet?
Fiber line.
Fiber line, yes, okay,
Yes.
all right.
Yeah, I marked all the crossings with little blue stars here on the map. We're just one piece in a big project. They're going from Chicago to
Columbus.
Cincinnati or Columbus, and big backbone. Oh, I'm gonna have
This
to
is the one that
start
had the
that
trouble here a week and a half ago.
Yes.
And that, where, did they get that straightened out?
They stopped work, and they're waiting for our approval, and then,
And Nathan had some
Nathan's.
floodplain.
Okay.
This is the
And
one that they just
NDOT,
started
they don't
and
have
never
any
asked
NDOT
anybody.
permits either.
yes.
So
Yeah.
what depth are they thinking about putting it, or how are they gonna go?
They'll go 4 foot under any of our tiles, and then it's six foot under the open
Mhm.
drains. So they are required to locate the tile. We made it that they
They're
have to
gonna dig 'em
locate,
up.
they have to
Good.
locate the tile.
Good.
Yes, and they were out there, and they did cross a few before we knew they were started on 950. They're gonna go back and dig down to make sure the tile was not disturbed on those. And then the rest of them, moving forward, they're locating. And they were starting at that point after I had found they were out there, and had a talk with them. Then they said no problem, they would get it, but they had to stop because they did not have the permits to even get started.
Yeah, I had a call from a landowner, and I didn't even know anything about it. And he's
Yeah.
like, how do you not know about this? I'm like, I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah, it kind of seems like a shady company to me if
Well,
they just did all this without permits.
I mean, if you were,
They
if you
had
were
a
gonna
right
pick
of
a
way
place,
use permit from the highway department.
did you know anything about this?
Yeah.
That's happened before,
No.
years back, that they.
But if you were gonna pick a
started
place
this
that's
stuff.
terrible to try to do this,
Take
Division
care of
Road
that.
would probably be at the top of the list.
Yeah.
I mean, it's steep drop off, there's brush growing up, 20 feet tall.
Who knows why they picked this route across us? It must have worked out
Because they
better
never
for
drove down Division Road.
their route through Kosciuszko County. Maybe this is just where it tied into that. So.
They did this out by Lincoln Way, ran fiber optic one time, and they came to all the farmers and asked us where things were at. And my grandpa went with them and told them where all the tile was, and he had them get way deep, you know, where he thought one was.
Right.
And man, now we don't know where it's at. It's almost, we wish it was 3 foot deep so you knew where it was at all the time.
Yeah, we've had the same problem. They, when they don't find them for sure, they just dive.
I know, and that's what we told them to do.
And we had the same problem on 14, crossing 14 out there
Yeah.
last year. We never did locate it. So,
But also
Yeah.
didn't hit it, so.
yeah, we didn't hit it either, so.
So where there's no tile, is he just gonna be 4 feet deep, and then where he thinks one's at, he's gonna belly under?
Normally around 40 inches is
Yeah.
what they said. They're knifing it where they can, and then the tiles they bore.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it's just, you're
Yeah.
not gonna know where it's at all the time.
And
You
they-
know at different depths, but I don't know what you're supposed to do.
yeah, so they'd actually hit the sewer line out there, and then I think Chris Long came out and tried to tell them where some tiles were, and
Right.
so I think after this we'll be moving in the right direction, at least best we can.
Okay. Okay, what's your pleasure?
Need a motion now.
Well, I probably do a motion and that they just approve the request for permanent structure from Legion Engineering and attach the drawings to it. That's it.
Yeah, I'll
You're
have-
totally confident that they know what they're doing and everything's good?
No,
That's my issue.
I mean,
I was out there and I don't know. And the fact that they got started without even seeming to know that
I
there
mean,
was
the best thing I can do is show them where our tiles, which they will have a print now, where they cross. And at that point, they're supposed to dig down and locate them, whether they vac it or.
In a year from now or two, if we got a big suck hole, or
I think
Do
we
they?
are only covered
We're
a
on our
year.
own?
I think that's what I was heard from someone.
that might be
We would
something
need to
to
put it
check
on there.
within a year to see if there's any suck holes. And so
I
we-
mean, I'd like it if the guy would have came and kind of laid a little out of what they're, I don't know about
I mean,
this.
they will see where they're at on each one of their plans, where each tile is. But they were out on one that was probably 30 foot in the other direction, and they couldn't find it yet. So I says, well, you're gonna have to locate it. So you're gonna have to keep moving over.
Mhm.
That's the only way we're gonna allow you to cross it.
They had to redo all of their plans, site plan pages that had drain crossings, because we have to have that caution note telling them there's a drain that needs to be 4 feet under a tile, 6 feet under open. So it's all on print now, where before it wasn't when they started, because they hadn't contacted us.
Right.
And they don't have any permits from NDOT to cross, because they got to cross State Road 5 pretty soon.
They did not have any permits, no. So that's gonna take them a while to get those anyways.
Like a bunch of cowboys, I'm sure I got a lot of confidence in them.
Yeah, I don't either.
Maybe we should table this and have them come into the next board meeting and let us make an opinion of how we feel about them. I really think that may be the issue.
I didn't have a great feeling when I went out there and saw what they were doing, and
I mean, if they haven't followed the rules to start with, I think we need to.
I don't know that they didn't follow the rules. I don't know if they really knew.
Once they had their highway permit, I
Well,
think
They thought it was okay to
everything
go
was
ahead.
good.
That's how I believe that got started. They had their highway permits, and then they thought that was okay. They did stop. They did offer to go back and dig those tiles up. I mean,
It's not our work.
I don't know.
So how many tiles did they cut to begin with? I mean, if they were
I don't know
already
that
going
they've cut
through-
any. There could be two that they crossed on 950 there by Long's.
They went over.
They did go, yes, because they were using the knife there. So if they were 42 inches or above that tile, then yes, they knifed through it. But they are going to go back and double check on those two crossings.
Because they're just doing conduit right now, and they're not actually putting in any of the fiber. I think they'll slide the fiber in after they
Right.
get all the conduit.
Yeah, right now it's just all the conduit, but that's what's gonna cut the lines.
As far as you know, they're working with you now to make sure things are right. Is that
Yes,
correct?
they stopped, I don't know if it's really any different than any of the other fiber contractors are going through. I mean, it's just a lot more this time, but
I mean, when I was out there, they were probably quarter to a third of a mile from Division. And when you turn and go east on Division, I mean, Brad or Dane, somebody that's done a little more of it, there is a tremendous amount of brush. I mean, it's gonna take all summer to clear all that brush, I would think, if they started now. And then they come to State Road 5 in another mile or two, and then they're stopped again.
Well, I think if they don't have their permits, they're gonna go the other ways, get around the tiles, cause they can, they're just gonna run fiber through it, so they can come up, go down wherever they need to, go to their boxes. But
They'll do everywhere that they have permission to do until they have.
yeah, they'll jump around until that's what they were already trying to do, so.
So that's how they ended up here. And I mean, to me, when they're going from Chicago to Columbus, they wouldn't be here for quite a while, but like they jumped over 7 or 8 counties and decided to start here, it looks like.
They're gonna bore under a tile, then pull PVC through?
No, they'll just pull, they're pulling their whatever PVC now through on the big rolls. They pull that through or conduit.
It's like what they did in the city here, the big rolls of PVC.
Yeah,
and then
they're
they just
doing that
pour
now
it.
under
Yeah.
the tiles, and then I believe then they pull their fiber through that
Right.
next, I believe.
I think your idea of maybe tabling it, I don't have a huge amount of confidence in what I observed.
So require an in-person presentation
I don't know,
or something?
maybe you have more experience. You guys have been around a long time. Is this something that's happened before? I don't.
I'm sure it ain't their first rodeo. They've been doing
I
it.
remember that big, when Parkview connected all
Yeah.
theirs, it seems like we kind of had the same,
Yeah.
because these contractors.
And we
They
found
they get paid
some
for
fiber.
Yeah, you're right.
Did you?
From
We did.
Parkview, well, Spencer found it there at the Bowen Center. There was in the bottom of that tile, there was a fiber run right through the bottom of it.
Really?
That was last year, I believe we repaired that.
Did Easter just send over?
Yeah, but we went,
single
I guess,
permit that
maybe
they
you
signed,
said that,
or is it
Matt.
they just leave it on?
We allowed Parkview
on that?
and their company to do it, and I don't know that we had that many issues with it after they found out what we
Not that we knew of.
required, that we know
Until
of
Spencer
yet.
found it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, Spencer, he's on it.
And I think
Oh,
these
yeah.
are getting installed all the time, but they go through the highway department, and
Okay.
they don't think to come to any other entity. They just go through the highway department. So if we could reach out to them and tell them anytime there's any sort of fiber project to let us know.
What do you think, Max? I mean, you were out there more than I was, I'm sure.
I mean, I believe they do it every day. I don't know how well they do it, but, there's a lot of guys hard to understand out there. But there were 2 that I spoke with that we were on the same page. I don't know if the in-person is gonna help any more than
I mean, yeah.
somebody approved to get the fiber through the county.
I have to go with Matt, because we had the same problem there that you spoke about, and it went well, I guess.
I think now that I know they're started, I can just make
Yeah.
sure I make
Spot check.
daily checks or whatever and go,
Well, if they know you're doing that, they'll probably
Right.
tighten up a little bit.
So, and I don't know that they thought they were doing anything wrong. I think they thought they had the right, because yes, both guys that I spoke to told me that they were told by their engineers that they had the correct permits. So they, at that point, were just going off of what they were told. So it's not like they were trying to cowboy through it. It's just their engineer told them we're good to go, and so they went with it until you guys got a phone call out there, and that's when it got stopped.
Yeah, I mean, I got out there and I saw trenchers and trucks and you name it, backhoes, and I mean, I was
And they
like,
have even more now. They brought in some more, so they were bringing them in the last day I was out there. There's a lot of guys out there that they have here ready to work. So
Okay.
I don't know I don't know what Brad thinks if a sit down is going to help out any more than.
I don't think it probably will. Now that we've talked about. I don't think it probably will. I think it's probably okay to go ahead and do it, but that's up to you guys, what you want to make a motion on.
They do it every day, and I'm sure if they do hit something, we're gonna know it pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
As long as we have some rain.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And like I said, it's happened in the past. I'm sure there'll be a couple, and we'll find them years down the road. I mean,
It might be.
More than likely, yeah.
so I guess my recommendation would be just, let's keep moving forward and get done, get them out of here.
Okay. Okay, what's your pleasure, guys?
I motion to pass the request to run fiber from 950 west across the county to 800 east from Legion Engineering.
Second.
And seconded, we allow the consent for permanent structure for the Zayo fiber project as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none? Okay, thank you, guys.
Can
Okay.
we skip the order a little bit here
Yeah.
or not?
Sure.
I think we have everything that's done.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up here, it is a ROACH L. It's the one that runs through Collins. Richard Coe's here, and I know he has an appointment here this afternoon, and today's meeting's gone a little longer than normal, so. If we could maybe pull one that you get a chance, Brad. So, Richard Coe lives in Collins, right there on Indiana. We have Mr. Massino lives through there. This tile runs through. So what our problem is here, and we've been dealing with this. Right here we have a tile. Spencer cleared this last year, but this here floods over his driveway a couple feet, floods over the road. It was good. Now this year, I don't know, is the water down yet?
Still in the yard, driveway's open. Driveway's
So-
been open for,
So what we're looking to do, they've had some health issues in their home. They have to have medicine delivered. Not necessarily everybody wants to drive through. Don't drown, turn around. You have the same issues with, I think fire, police, ambulance, whatever. We are in the red. I don't know if I read that right.
I've got it $6,344, and we raised it a couple years ago. It now collects $6,322.
So our goal is to go to the bottom and start there. We have a tile project that has started. So we had the money. We went through here, cleared it, found some blockage, some roots. I'm assuming after last summer's dryness, we probably have some more roots through there somewhere. It's muck, it's bad ground, it's a mess, but this is where we would start here, and of course we have to go under 205, and we have a couple road crossings, and it's gonna be a big project. I know we don't necessarily like to start on the top end. It would take some figuring, some elevations and see what cover we can get. I know through Massino's property that I don't think there was much coverage covered through there. If not anything, I guess we're asking the board to go in the red some more, to do some investigating and try to find this blocked or broke down tile. It is all junk. I hate putting any money towards it. So I was just kind of bringing it up. Mr. Coe reached out. He come in the office and he reached out to me last week. So I had some quick numbers that I was just able to do today. The whole thing's 4,000 feet. Or if we could start, and I don't even know for sure if it's possible with the elevations, but if we could start over there in his property or not start, but bring it to here. I believe this is 1,400 foot. We do have water moving from here pretty decent. It's not great, but it makes through. We have problems here. This gentleman's septic system is right here. We located the tile last year. There's trees, there's a septic system. I think you can maybe even see his fingers there. So when we do it, we were told it was out here before, but we found it here.
I wish it was out in the field.
Yeah, well, that's where we're gonna go, or we'd like to go when we do it, but, just trying, I don't know, would you like to come up and say anything? State your name and.
There's not much more I can say, I have already said.
Well, just so he's
I'm
here.
Rick Coe. He's right, I'm on the corner at Indiana and 205. That is, is that a floodplain or a wetlands or what, Messinos that cross the road, the technical
I don't know.
I don't know that it has any specific official environmental designation. It might have wetlands in there if, but we'd have to do an investigation, a biological
kind of
investigation.
immaterial to what I was trying to say. Right. That tile, you're right. There's a what do you call it? Catch basin.
Standpipe, catch basin,
Standpipe
yep.
at the corner of my driveway.
Right.
That goes under Indiana Street. And right at Indiana Street, along that wetland, there's water standing there now. Correct. And in the corner of my yard. On, what would be to the west of that, and then it loops out towards 205. I can't see any water there, okay? When we were here, I think it was in June of '23, when we got the
Raise the assessment.
correct, and you cleaned the trees out and everything with that. Okay, since then, the Labor Day, that same summer, a pretty good medical event happened at home. But then one happened last January. Now, a lot of medication comes mail order. If we had to have an ambulance get up to the house, I don't know what would happen because it'll flood across the driveway. And it's not, I was out there just 3 weeks ago, or whenever we had the big rain here. I was at 15 inches of water and I wasn't at the deep point. They won't drive through it. UPS and FedEx, they won't drive through it. I don't blame them on one hand. The trucks would make it through, but you can't tell where the driveway is because it goes up towards the house so far to know exactly where the driveway is off the road. I'm gonna ask you if you can consider doing something so we can at least get an emergency vehicle up through there if we had to. And then, get the mail
Right.
or get the stuff delivered to us at that.
So I believe, like Jenny said, we're $60-some $100 in the red. It collects $60-some $100.
Is that because we cleared the trees is why we're in the red?
Yes, we raised it and then shortly went after, cleared it, found some blockage, got that moving. And it did okay last year. We didn't have a whole lot of rain and now it's holding back again.
Have we tried to push the tile locator under the road?
No, we haven't.
What's the elevation from like his driveway to the other side? Does it go down any on the other side? Could it be fixed with like a culvert pipe under the road or
So
something to drain
right there
his?
where the tile goes is low. The road is low. His yard is even lower. Messino's side is low over there also to the west. It holds water, a lot of times right there where it says the Smith, all through there. It's low on both sides. Like I said, it still could be, we could have some more roots.
It's like the same elevation.
Yeah.
On this side now or further, probably further towards Messino's property, or towards his house anyways. But like I said, we're already in the red, and I was just gonna ask you guys what you wanted to do about it, or had opinions, or help us figure out what to go with here.
One thing that's starting to happen, right there on what would be the top side of my driveway, across the road is the mailbox. The road has started to split and drop off towards Messino's. That was holding water up until last week. It's still wet through there now. That's kind of just started this year. As far as holding water, it's split for a while, but this is the first time it's held water there.
So
It's changing.
I just put quick numbers together this morning. At 4,000 feet, we need 15-inch tile. With tile labor, material, we'd probably be at a couple road crossings, probably $76,000, $80,000 to do that for 4,000 feet. We will have to cross 205, which will take some permits, and the state would pay for that.
How much would the whole thing be?
That's what the 76,000 would be, except I don't have anything figured for crossing 205 because I think they would pay for it, unless we would have some boring fees on each side like we did on 14. Because I doubt if they're gonna open cut it. I don't know, they might, but I
You
doubt
got the trees off all of my Encinos where that tile's on him the whole way? or
Yeah,
just the-
we're all the way through, through there. I think even last year, did we go and bush hog that one time maybe? Or am I thinking another tile?
I don't think we were there.
Okay. So I think I did, maybe that was just my thoughts when I saw it here the spring, that we're gonna have to keep, those are some of the tiles that we're gonna try to get on a tile spray program through areas like that. But yes,
Oh, we need to do something.
It should be cleared. It is cleared, best of our knowledge, where the tile is. So when we go put a new tile in, we'll go where we need to go, and then if we have to cut back a few more, there may be some, but for the most part, everything is cleared, at least 50 foot, 25 on each side. And we did take out water-seeking trees, so.
So we can go in the red more. We can do a one-off reconstruction project where we charge everybody in the watershed one time and collect the $76,000 in one go. That would be a one-time major hit to everyone's taxes. Or getting a loan is still available to the drainage board.
How many people are in the watershed?
We don't even have anything on this, I don't think.
No, that came
Not a
out
lot.
this weekend.
There's no possibility of going a different direction and finding a tile that's closer?
I can zoom out 1 second.
I don't
think there's any other tile out there.
I don't think there is.
I mean, is that north is up on that?
Yes, and with the elevations, we're probably not gonna get any fall anywhere. We can zoom out here when.
Isn't that great big kind of mucky field
East of
nearby?
there.
Yeah.
East of them,
That tile's to the top of the ground in that muck.
Is it?
Is it?
On Geiger's. They pump that muck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, they do.
They have a big pump station out there.
So I mean, that's not that far away, but that's only gonna be this small portion of the drain, not gonna fix any of this stuff.
So, okay, so I thought you said it was, other than across from his house, it was fine. It's not?
No, it needs to start where we're at, right down here is, I mean, we have some blowholes through here also. But
Oh.
it needs to be started, it needs to be ran the whole way. They ran it new from the open ditch, a couple different sections. So
It's just an old clay tile.
it's, yeah.
Oh, it's clay still?
Clay and
Oh, boy.
Wilcoxon did that 10 or 15 years ago, didn't he? The green.
I think he did do that, I think so. And we have some other suck holes out there, and we have some investigating to do, because where our tile, where I found the tile and where our maps show, and there's another tile, I'm not sure which tile is which. So, but we can, like I said, I mean, the time you get some guys out there and, you know, for a day,
You mentioned a one-time hit, just doing it. What would that cost per, you know, 76,000 in one whack, in 1 year? That'd get pretty.
that would be expensive to the home and landowners for sure.
You know,
Seeing
that's
76 or 61 parcels that are 61 parcels it looks like that drain into this.
I think 61.
I think so. And I had it, but now it's gone. I think it was like a $1,200 minimum, I want to say, and no, I'll have to do some more. I had it up here.
Which this was just from Thursday, he called, and so I'm just trying to get some, I said, well, we're having a board meeting if you'd like to come in there. That's why I don't have everything around. I got some notes this morning here before the meeting, but that's why we don't have everything, but we're just looking for some options.
It was $250 an acre, 1,200 minimum. So
I would
That's what
advise
it-
against that because people are gonna be pissed.
I was just gonna say, yeah, guys, they'll burn my house down.
Right.
They get that.
Yeah.
They'll probably blame you for it too, so,
Yeah.
as well as us, yeah.
Jimmy, how long would we have to go in the red if we had our current, if we were at $80,000?
80,000.
6,300 is the current.
Which I know that's a lot of years probably.
Or 6,300 in
temporary, it'd be raised.
No, 63 is annual.
done that
Or
already.
also
the red.
63.
Yeah.
We've done that 4 years ago.
10 years, almost
Yeah.
11
And it's
years.
sunk.
And the problem with
That's-
that is the road still floods also
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, you got water over the road.
Yes. When it gets high, it goes over the road, but mainly his drive, but it does go over the road also. And so, I mean, raising his drive, then just, you know, it just depends. If we want to go out and do some exploratory and try to fix some junk tile.
You got two bad
I
things.
have-
You got
I have-
trees.
I have a question, back to
Yeah,
your
right.
original plan, when you said to replace the whole thing. That would take a lot of time to get permits and everything to do that.
The biggest problem would be probably boring under 205, which we have some better connections now since our last project.
But at the same time, wouldn't that have to come for a vote and everything by everybody involved?
No, at this point, it would be up to the board if the board wanted to go into the red, if we wanted to go in the red.
No, I meant, okay, not the assessment round.
No, the assessment, we already raised the assessment, so everybody's already paying it.
He's talking about the permit.
I'm talking about the $1,200 per homeowner.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
The-
we're just kind of
how long would-
scratching.
If that was the route, how long would something like that take?
Oh,
Here's
yeah.
what I'm saying, here's where I'm at.
Yeah, we need something now.
My wife had a stroke. That's twice. That's the whole issue, and I know somebody here's had one also, so you know what I'm talking about. We don't know when it's coming, you don't know when it's coming, nobody knows when something like that happens. Okay? We don't know when it's gonna rain either. But to go and replace the whole thing and start clear down at the church or whatever and work backwards up, that's not gonna help the biggest problem that's bringing this up to begin with, time-wise.
One of our biggest problems though is now we take the water off of you and we push it onto somebody else. So now we're flooding, which I understand, driveway and access, and now, but we are going to push it, and it may not, if we could get the 1,400 foot over to the standpipe by Nichters or Nichters, that would possibly alleviate that problem there, but we don't know the elevations yet. Or we just did the whole thing. Yeah, either way, we have problems. Because Brad and I had talked, you know, we get that water working, at least at that point, it would go through and probably, which Mr. Messino is looking to sell his property also. And he was in last week also because he's wanting to know when it's gonna get done because he'd like to sell his place and he doesn't like it flooded. So now we're gonna bring more water over, but that's why I thought possibly if we did.
Move the water on his property from one spot to another.
Yes, so, and that's what if which is a big leap, we've never done it, at least since I've been here going the red for that many years. I don't know. Or Brad had an option of a loan, I guess. I don't know how that works, but we just spoke about it a little bit this morning.
I don't know about going to get that far. That'd be a first, wouldn't it?
For one project, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the current rate for the assessment on that?
We raised it, but it was, I believe when I first started, and we were at
Yeah, we
probably
had
20 and 100.
20 and
I
100.
think ours was 100.
I mean, I think it's been
That was back in mid
a year
2023.
or two.
Correct.
So yes, shortly after that is when we started going to
Yeah.
40 and 200, which we wish we would have had a couple more of those. But, and I don't know what that would, or I don't know if we ever did look in to see how long if we can raise the assessment
I
again.
was trying to find that, so I'm not sure if there is something that states or not.
We didn't know if we could have another hearing and raise it again to the 40 and 200. And then that way we wouldn't have to go in the red as, you know, we build it up.
Right.
But, or like I said, we can go and do some exploratory work, but sometimes, I mean, yeah, we can probably find, Spencer has a question here, answer.
It worked good for that year roughly after we cleared and got the root ball out. We had a couple root balls, the tree roots.
True.
It worked good for the year.
True.
Now, if it wasn't on the spray program or we didn't bush hog, I mean, I've seen a 1.5-inch willow tree block an 8-inch tile quickly. And there was a lot of water-seeking trees through there. It wouldn't hurt to do that exploratory probably. Find where it's blocked. It's probably blocked between Mancino's Drive and Indiana again.
Yeah.
And then that would be what I would suggest. And then put it on the spray program until you can do the whole thing. Because I wouldn't try lowering that tile across, because across Mancino's, I mean, there was some stuff, we were piling dirt up to cover tile because it's on top of the ground. I don't think you're gonna get the cover on the east side of Mancino's that you're gonna need to when you end up going on the west side of Mancino's Drive, you're just gonna be putting tile back on the ground.
Right.
And that's my opinion, but
yeah. No,
I think you probably have a water-seeking tree that's on top of that tile or close to from 23 to
So, I mean, we
and
could.
It's got that 8-inch tile plug. It is 8-inch through there.
Yeah. I think we could look in to see if we can raise it again, and then, like I said, if you guys want to give us the permission to go in the red again, get somebody out, we'll run the tile locator and try to Band-Aid it again until we do the whole. We have to start at the bottom, but we can't get at the bottom keep going in red, so. Right. Or if we can get it down, that we only went in the red maybe 5 years or something, maybe.
I agree with Spencer. I think that's what we need to do. Just patch it for the time being, get it on the spray program. Because I don't think the homeowners are going to be happy if we, you know, jack up their taxes $1,200 or whatever it was going to be a year. So
I would vote for that.
Okay.
I think Spencer, I think you got a good idea there. I think that's I don't think that's probably our only option right now. I mean, I know what the other option is. I don't think that's
Yeah.
going to go.
yeah, I don't want to do the loan either if we don't have to.
Well, then we'll just, for approval, we'll just get somebody out there and locate it and run the locator and see if it's plugged somewhere.
Relieve part of your problem anyway.
Yeah, that's probably the
That's-
fastest
that's
quick
not
for
good.
quick
Like I said, it
fix
would
for you.
flood, but it would at least go back down, I think, the next day.
After you clean the trees.
Yeah.
We didn't.
It didn't
I mean,
flood at
didn't-
all. Okay.
It'd be gone, you know.
A few hours, that's
Hours,
right.
yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
okay. Well, we'll just, as long as the board agrees, then we'll just go in the red a little further and,
I'm
try to
okay
find
with
our
that.
problem.
I think that's probably what we should do.
and then possibly we can look into raising it again, which.
You got
Because
two
we're
bad
never gonna
things.
get
You
it.
got
This isn't a good-
trees,
this isn't a good
and then you
year
got
to do
muck.
that.
The reason that tile's on top of the ground is because the tiles dragged the peat moss up and it's rotted, and now your tile's at the top of the ground.
Didn't you find clay tile, the old original kind that you just stuck end to end? and
Yeah, that's
then-
what's through
Right.
there. That's what's through Messina's property.
That's why the trees get in there so easy.
Yeah. And that was just breaking apart, laying on top of the ground, and we patched. I mean, there were some places that we weren't even going to put tile back in because it was so shallow, and so that's when they piled the dirt back up on top of it. So, but okay, well, it looks like we will.
Thank you, I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Work on
All
it.
you guys and girls.
Thanks, Dan.
Hey, out there.
Have a good day.
Okay.
Okay, we can move
Go
back
right ahead.
to. I
Yeah.
just, like I said, I knew he had an appointment here this
Yeah,
afternoon.
that's fine.
If we, I think we'll go to the let bid jobs, I believe.
Okay.
You might need to wait.
I'm Brett.
Yeah, wait
Yeah.
for Ron to get back.
Oh.
Yeah, let's-
Okay, let's take a recess.
You'll work, maybe, or.
Okay. Take 5. We're gonna take 5.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. Straight out.
Richard, see what you're missing?
Pardon?
I say, see what you're missing?
Yeah, see, I'm not sitting on the wrong side of the table. I don't know, don't feel home back here.
Yeah, that's kind of a bad situation for him, and gee whiz. Maybe we should bring the legislature up here and let them make a decision and see how that goes. Jesus.
So is that what we're gonna try to do moving forward? Some of these county tiles for maintenance, we're just gonna spray over them or something?
If we've cleared them, then, and Brad's gonna bring that up today, we can put them on a spray program like we have the open
Okay,
bids.
because we have one that is a problem that we want to put on the spray program that's been replaced.
I have a list, so we're making a list.
Yeah. I went with the family and her family that went over to Cracker Barrel, and that's the first time we've been over there since they changed around. And,
Yeah, I've been to one of those for a long time.
you know, so I quit what I was doing for the rest of the year, what I had anyway, so. Pretty slow, it took a long time after we ordered before we got our booth. I thought the service there at church was really nice yesterday.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to see that many people.
Yeah, that's good. I've been in there in a except when they have the kids there. Yeah. Tammy really done a good job with the kids.
A lot of water.
We'll refill.
I'm not doing anything like.
Okay, let
It's a mad rush.
Here's a recess.
Yeah.
I was a little early.
I think you started it.
Hey, Rob, just gonna pop back in for a minute so we can maybe approve the jobs and then just gonna go back in.
So, do we need to revote on going into the red more, or?
Do you want to tell us how far you want us to go in the red, or do you want to?
I mean, it's. I'm gonna have $1,800 probably at least going out for one day exploring and digging. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, once we get started, like Brad said, once you get started, you might. We don't want to do any more than we have to because it's junk tile.
Yeah.
But
It's just one spot with roots in it, that ain't gonna take long.
No, but that's, you don't know. That's the thing.
so.
Well, what's, well, you don't know.
I mean, we just.
Well, the problem pushing the locator in, because we tried, so that we could locate where we were clearing, the tile's so bad you couldn't even push the locator in. So we just followed where they've repaired. There was piles and divots and stuff, so we just cleared over all that from old repairs. So, I mean, we could be off just a little bit, you know, on where we cleared. Just because we didn't dig down to find it. We tried pushing locator wouldn't go through more than 20 feet. Because you were catching the edge of the other tile and stuff, you know, it's just, they're bad ground, bad.
Well, if we set on to go over 4,000, then give us an idea. Hopefully, we run into it before then, but
Right.
try to give him some relief.
I mean, at
the
that
same
point, if we
time.
look like we're gonna have to, I'll
Yeah.
have to call one of you guys and we'll
Yeah.
see what we wanna do, but.
I'm okay with
Basically
doing it
two
the 4,000.
days of exploration work.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah.
Unless it's 2 county employees out there.
Yeah.
So you want a motion for that?
Yep.
Probably
Sounds
should,
good.
yeah.
You want to make that motion? If you agree with it. I'd go with 4,000. I'd go for 4,000 to at least find out what we're gonna do. We're gonna do some exploration.
Okay. 4,000 feet or $4,000?
$4,000 to see if we can get to the point where we can help relieve this guy with
Yeah.
getting
So,
some relief out there.
so we need a motion to approve exploratory
Explore
work up to
4,000.
a cost of $4,000?
Further in the, we're in the red
Yeah.
$6,000 now and we need to go
Okay.
further.
Yeah.
I've got it written.
You got it.
Just somebody to motion it.
So moved.
Second that.
All right, moving second, we go to $4,000, in the amount of $4,000 for exploratory on this drain. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. What's next, Max?
Maybe
Well,
do,
for-
Rob's gotta go back, so maybe do the let job. don't
Okay.
you?
Okay, yeah.
Do the let bid jobs, because I think that's the only other thing we need to vote on.
All right, good. Okay, Max?
The GOBLE.
So we sent the GOBLE 15 out for bid, which is 2,000 foot at 24 inch. And we got our labor pipe and backfill bids back in. As you can see, our first winning bid was at $6,000.
Is this the guy that's always way under?
No.
This is a different guy.
This is a different guy.
Does he know what the work he's gonna be doing?
So he called in prior to the day it was due for his bids. He called in and talked to me. He wanted to make sure that the tile was supplied and the backfill was supplied. I told him about the taps. Anything over 6 inches that we will pay for, but anything 6 inches or less, they take care of it, but they get paid $250 a tap. So he understood that, as far as I know. The only other time that I had met with him was when he was out on the Blue River with us when we all went out there and met with the contractors. Warner Excavating was the guys, I don't know if any of you saw over in Busco, he was the one dipping the Eel River where it turns into the Geller. He was the guy doing that. One day I stopped out there because I saw him have a long reach and concerned about our county. So talked to him, talked to a guy from Allen County that does similar to my job. He had no complaints with him. He said he's done great work. But I haven't had anything, no personal experience with him. Besides, meeting them a couple times now, and that's really cheap. That's I don't know if it's one we, kind of like the Blue River, we need to reach out to them and say, hey, do you really know what you're getting into?
Might be smart. He's less than 50% of the next bid, and I mean,
That's $3 a foot. Only 24
Well,
inch
he
top.
had 250 on there, and then the other was taps, or tie-ins that he was doing, so he bid it at 250 a foot.
You got a wheel machine, or is he got an excavator?
Excavator, I believe. So, yeah, that's a long ways, and not very much money. So then our next bid was Joe Bent, which is Patriot Excavating at 14.2. So, and then at that point, I guess our closest was Helmkamp. And then I think Jerry, Pettigrew, and then Spencer. So, I was at 23,750, which, we figure ours a little high. It's what you guys want to do, if you want us to reach out or if you want to approve it, I don't know. That's really very inexpensive.
yeah.
So 250 was installed, backfill, grass seeded?
Yes, 250 a foot. And then there was, I believe, 4 tie-ins at $250 a piece, if I remember right.
Yes.
That made the other $1,000. So that, it was $5,000 for digging and $1,000 for the tie in the bottom, tie in the top, and I think there's maybe 2 county tiles to tie in.
Yeah, I think you better reach out again. I just can't think that he can do it. That's gonna be like cost for him. He's not gonna make anything.
I mean, once they bid this, that's what they're getting paid, right? He's not gonna come back and say, oh, wait, I was wrong.
No, besides taps, or if there's anything other we, come across. But
Is it not
no.
very deep? Is that why he's thinking he can do it so quick?
It's not as deep. It's 7 foot, 6, 7 foot, I believe.
With an excavator though?
Yeah, I believe so. And I'm not even sure that he owns a big enough excavator. I know he has a mini, so I don't know. That's just what I heard.
Do a job like that with a mini?
So I don't know.
No, it'd take a pretty big bucket to
So,
dig a
yeah.
24-inch hole or tile.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll do whatever. If you guys want to wait on not approving this, or
Yeah, you have to table it.
Yeah, I think we should table it. Make
Motion to
sure
table it.
He knows what he's getting into.
Reach out
and,
and
so we don't
contact
have to
him.
deal with that.
Okay.
A motion to table this pending further discussion.
I second that.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
We can move on to I believe our pipe bid or not. We can approve those or not.
Can we?
Yeah.
We can't, I think we can.
Yeah, we should
I
do
mean, we have.
Well,
them,
because
so-
that's independent of who's actually doing it, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
get it on their schedule and get
Yeah.
Get it ordered before it goes up again.
Yep, so, Fratco was, our lowest bidder at $24,860. No problems there. And then,
Do we vote?
and then I guess.
Oh,
you guys may
I
have to-
move to approve the bid for pipe from Fratco for $12.43 a foot, and a total of $24,860.
Second that.
Okay, the motion to have Fratco be the accepting bidder on the GOBLE E as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And the backfill for the GOBLE E, 15.
That would be Brad Hall Trucking.
You're thinking we need limestone instead of tea gravel?
Cheaper than the cheapest peak.
Yeah, limestone was actually cheaper, so, which I think we'd rather usually use 8s anyways than, I mean, if I had the choice, if they were the same price, I would go with 8s. But, yeah, he was cheaper than the pea gravel also, so.
I make a motion to approve Brad Hall Trucking for the backfill on GOBLE E 15 for $20.75 a ton.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, passed. Okay.
Rob, we were just looking at the agenda, there are 2 other things that, so I guess, one of which is for Dick, so.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
So we can,
Other
we can skip
business.
to the GEARIN.
Okay. Okay, so on the gearing, C number 17, I was called out there, we had a big suck hole out there. I don't have, we are in the red on that one also.
We're in the red, 4,800.
4,000, what was that?
4,800.
4,800. So this is another one we are going to move to. This is the stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, you said that already.
Here it is, I gotta look. This is another one we're gonna look to raise the assessment on. There's a suck hole there. Right now it collects $695 a year. You know, we can't do anything with that. And we are 4,800 in the red, so I believe what we're asking is to raise the assessment on that, get a hearing for that. But I would also like to go in the red further to get this suck hole repaired because it's big and not far off the road. There's no way they're gonna farm around it, so it needs to be addressed. It's, I believe, something important.
What's your pleasure, guys?
Don't we, are we needing to raise the assessment, or we need to, like an emergency repair?
We need to do both.
So we need to
Hold a-
approve to hold a public hearing.
Yep.
And then approve to go in the red.
So we're gonna do it and then, okay.
Yeah,
Can
we'll
that be
have to-
one motion, or?
Probably.
I'll move to allow the county to go further into the red on this 205-017B GEARIN C number 17 ditch, requested by Dick and Todd Kyler for the suck hole repair, and also to hold a hearing to propose raising the assessment to $40 per acre with a $200 minimum.
Yep.
Second that.
Okay,
I'd
so,
make a comment too on.
yeah, Dick.
I'm not against raising, I guess I'm Dick Carter, everybody didn't know me, but, I'm not opposed to raising the assessment on it, but I think we need to look at making that a little less. I can tell you a couple of neighbors gonna really go, they're gonna get soft. It ain't gonna cost us much, because we don't have that many acres now. But, Hurley's and, he's got a lot of acres in there. We look what the assessment he's paying now. I mean, that's peanuts, but what he's gonna pay, he's gonna come unglued, I'm sure.
Okay.
So, and that ditch really don't have much history of repairs on it. We bought that, my dad bought that in 1940, and, you know, I've farmed it ever since I was in Nahi, and been involved with, along with my son now, but I think it needs to be raised, but I don't think we need, I think we need to cut that back to something smaller, because,
And
my portion, our portion of it, that's peanuts compared to what Hurley's and SCHRADER's in particular are gonna pay on it, so.
But you think it needs replaced in the next,
It
or
just,
not?
no, and that hole, that's a freak thing. I don't know what happened there. We repaired it 2 years ago there, the county did.
A little before my time.
Got a big hole there now after that big rain. I probed down there, and that's plastic there, so I know that's where they fixed it.
Right.
But it's got a foot or so of mud and the residue on top of that tile. And more generally, you got that big a hole, you can see the tile. And I can't even see the tile in there, so.
So on that one, yeah, we don't particularly need to raise it for a tile replacement, but
Right.
more or less maintenance.
Yeah,
So if we wanted to go, like I said, if we stay in our,
yeah, in 20, so about half that or something, that would make a lot of money in that drain for, and I, like, the repair that was done, that put it in the hole was over on, right along the edge where they built a pond, and they planted trees there, and they planted trees right there with the ditch, so then they had to take the trees out and repair the drain, so that's how it got in the hole so bad, but,
Well, we can always lower it at the public hearing.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
I agree.
it's not to exceed that amount, right?
Yeah, I'd rather advertise it high, and then if we have a bunch of
If we,
opposition,
yeah,
we'll just lower
maybe
it.
they'll go with it.
you know, because at that point, we could collect it 1 year, we could get out of the road, we can fix what we need to, and then we have money in there for
Yeah,
the future
yeah.
to make any repairs, kind of like, just for our maintenance, and that's what we'd kind of like to stay.
Yeah, right.
If we could at the 40 and 200,
I
because
understand that,
just trying to be there so we have a even
Yeah.
keel.
yeah. But I mean, like that hole now, and,
Yeah.
we gotta get it fixed, and
Yep.
you guys don't cool go to red on it, we'll fix it on our own, but it's gotta be repaired. But like, the biggest thing is, I don't think the repair's gonna be that big, but it's gonna take a lot of dirt to fill that hole in.
Yeah.
There ain't no way we can scrape the dirt off of
Right.
the
And I
side of the
can-
hills anymore to fill that big a hole, so.
The highway's berming right now, so I might be able to get a couple
Yeah, we can
loads
get a
dropped off
couple
down
loads
there.
of-
Yeah.
Trouble is, we need a PDQ because we're gonna plant that corn, and so.
Yeah.
How big is the hole? I mean, how big around?
Oh, probably 8, 10 feet around it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
Really?
maybe 12. It's
Yeah,
big. It's a
yeah.
big
And it's about,
big hole.
well, I'd say 4 feet deep. Took about all my,
Yeah.
my probe down to the tile. The tile's probably about 6 feet deep, I guess, to the top of
So
the tile,
it was
something like
just-
that, 5, 6 feet.
But
Sounds like a good thing it opened up and you didn't find it at the front of your tractor in the corn planter.
Yeah, well, it's big enough you're gonna see it, so.
Yeah.
But, you know, once you get the corn, you know, then access to getting into it, we're gonna knock a lot of crop down getting to it. Because there's no,
yeah, we'll. I believe Brady will get to it here shortly.
okay, yeah, and if we can get Brady or somebody over there to fix it real quick,
Yeah.
and I know he's gonna wanna be getting into
Yeah,
it too,
so,
so.
yep, I will.
So, but I don't, in 2 or 3 hour job, I said to repair it the most,
Yeah.
but like I said, we just need that
Yep.
thing filled in and
So I think we'd probably keep it at 40 and 200, and then see who wants to call in or whatever, and we
Yeah,
can
sounds fair.
adjust from there. If
good.
nobody
I
has.
like plan,
Okay.
that's fine, so. Thank you,
All right,
fellas.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
I know what
waiting.
it feels like I've been on that side, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
think
just sat
too.
back there grinning all morning, weren't you? You were sitting back there grinning all morning,
That's
weren't you? Okay, it's the pleasure, guys.
We already approved
I
it,
think
didn't
we
we?
already, yeah, I think.
No, I guess we did.
Yeah, I
didn't
think we're good.
Yeah, we did, I'm sorry. Okay,
We need to speak about the Mars next then.
all right, go right
Rob.
ahead.
We have one more hearing.
Okay.
We want to request.
Oh gosh.
Up in it, Troy.
So the Mars A, and this has been I don't know, it's been a mess from the beginning here. We were contacted a few weeks ago from Dennis Wolf requesting a replacement from the open ditch to State Road 5. We talked about raising the assessment. We've talked about owner funded. It's kind of been all over the place. I've heard many different sides. So I think we need to raise the assessment no matter what. That way we do have some money in there to make repairs. And I had told them if they do owner fund it and we're still going to raise it. And things may come up different next time. I don't know. It's been a mess, as I said.
They do an owner-funded replacement, do they submit receipts for reimbursement, or it's on them?
They'll fill out the paperwork and have it approved through the board
Okay.
with what the
Yes.
cost and everything is
But
gonna be
they
in
follow
advance. But they're only going up to what, the road from the bottom end?
And there is a lot of water standing out there now.
West Wolf's where Denny used to live. You're just south of there. The tile's in our field.
And right now it only collects $95 and we have
It's all
0 on
trees
hand.
through here. From here to here is all trees.
What it is.
Yeah, I think we might as well just have the
North Cedar
assessment
Park.
and
Because
get it over with, because, I mean, at
that's-
54 cents an acre.
Oh, right there, North Cedar Park.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I don't know if we've had any more talk of owner funding any more of it as of last week. But we're gonna have more problems on the other side. I believe we may have some problems under 5. I think we need, like I said, if nothing else, for maintenance in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, it still only brings in $5,300, so.
Yeah, I agree.
Right up here, Wolfie's house.
Oh, okay, I got you. I know where I'm at.
That's a muck hole, south of Wolfie's Pond right here.
Okay. We gotta have approval from this board, right? Okay. you guys wanna have
An approval to let them owner fund it.
Is that what he wants
For
to
the
do?
hearing?
Do we know?
No public hearing to raise the assessment.
Oh,
Because it only collects $95, we have 0 on hand.
and when they get it done, we'd like to spray it to keep the trees off.
Yep, we already have it on our list, I think, to put for the
a-
spray
Need a
program.
motion for that.
I hope they widen it from what they've done already.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, that's not.
So we also, I don't know if you guys have approved that or not yet,
This one?
to raise it, haven't?
No, we haven't.
Or I'll let you go on with that first.
Make a motion to set it for hearing.
We're not saying how much, we're just hearing.
It is $40 per acre, $200 minimum.
We do, in the motion, we advertise, like we set with the advertising.
They get a postcard or whatever.
Yeah, so the amount does need to be in the motion.
But we could change it. I mean,
Yeah,
It's not to exceed that amount, so
We
we
can't go over, we can just go lower than that we
Right.
advertise.
I'll make a motion to have a hearing to raise the Mars A 43300B assessment
to
the $40 and $200 minimum.
second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we set this for a hearing on the Mars A. At that rate, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, approved.
Now, do we need to give them authorization to do an owner-funded if they decide to?
Yeah,
Or-
they have the packet, so they have to get signatures from the few owners that have the tile going through their property on the east side of the road. So they'll submit all of that to us, and then you guys will approve that if you wish.
But that would be next month, or,
If they get the paperwork into us,
so they can't go this week if it's fit and fix it then?
no.
Okay.
Shouldn't, since you haven't approved it.
Okay.
So were we going to talk to the board, I know I've been all over the place on this, talk to the board about possibly going in and raising it if they're not gonna owner fund it? Or, not raising it, but going in the red further?
We didn't bring that up yet.
Yes,
Well,
okay.
we can talk about that next month, but, or not, it doesn't
They're
hurt.
gonna wanna start.
That's what I'm
So,
thinking.
yeah, so we're holding a lot of water over on the other side. Brad's seen it, he's been over there. So I didn't know if we want to talk about going in the red even before we are raised. If that's something, I think we estimated about $20,000 to do the replacement. So that would be, you know, going in the red for 4 years, I believe, 4 years, yes.
I took it that they're owner funding it though.
Okay, did
In the
you?
last couple of days,
Okay.
Danny called and said that if they're gonna owner fund it, they just needed to get signatures.
Okay.
So if they are gonna owner fund it, could we make a motion to approve that now if they decide to owner fund it and then they don't have to wait? So if they wanna lay the tile
They
next
wanna
week
fix
or
it,
something
plan
that's
it
already
probably.
approved
Yeah. Go right through the middle
to
of the
be
field.
owner funded, or we still have the motion to have the public hearing to raise it if they don't owner fund? It's kind of like a long motion.
But we probably still need to do the public hearing for maintenance and maybe you
Yeah.
want to collect it for one.
Yeah.
year. The owner funded, I mean, without an actual application, we haven't ever done that before, but I get it because they might want to do it and
Yeah.
before
Could
next
we,
meeting, they're
could we
replanning it.
make a motion to allow Max to approve it when they submit it? Or,
Assuming the packet is complete and.
because
the
like Brad
appropriate
said, they're gonna wanna
signatures
do
and
it,
all.
like,
Yeah, now.
yeah. I mean, they,
Which makes sense. you know.
So
If they're gonna do it.
far, it hasn't been the easiest to work with. So they didn't want to, they didn't want to use backfill. And I said, you have to go by the county specifications or our provisions, and we are requesting backfill. So I did tell them that we would be able to use bank run on this one, since it is owner funded and it's not real deep and it's gonna be through the woods, at least through there. It shouldn't be, we shouldn't have problems with cover or breaking the tile down. I believe Tyler went out and cleared a path. Supposedly, the last time I heard, Jimmy Wall was gonna dig it maybe, but Jimmy sent me a picture of what they had cleared, and they had only cleared about 4 of us standing together, and that's not gonna work. It's gonna have to be cleared. Same thing, our provision, we're gonna have to be 25 foot, no trees, or as far as we can go until the banks. There is a hill there, but we're gonna have, it all has to be cleared and to our specifications to be done. So, as long as Wolf's agree to do it as they are supposed to, then it's okay, but, it's been tough working with them, to be honest with you, so, they wanna, like, skip a section, or, yeah, so I mean, I know they wanna get it in. I don't have a problem with that, if you guys, however you wanna do it, but as long as they do it to our requirements, I'm okay with that, but they're gonna have to go to our requirements, and I'm gonna need you guys to stand behind me to say, hey, this is how we're gonna do it. If not, we're not doing it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I guess that's what I'm looking for.
I think we'll go by our specs and wanna
Okay. Yeah.
start on it.
Yeah, I agree.
Let 'em
But
do
but
it.
they have to go by our specs. If they don't, the project stops.
Right.
Yeah. Motion to that effect?
Whenever, whoever's gonna do it, have it in their bid
She got it.
to get the trees back.
Of course I do.
Just put in their recommendation, recommended by
We
the
do it
staff.
how we want it.
That's what we always do at the planning commission.
At least audience died down.
Do you think Jimmy's still interested in doing it?
He said he couldn't do it at the way they cleared so far. He said he wasn't even going to try.
It wasn't leveled and.
Yeah, and the bad thing is, I don't know if you've seen them not let a lot of that water through, which, I mean, have to do what they have to do, but, yeah, he's gonna have to open it up to get it, you know, as far as we can, or we're gonna have tree roots in there again, so. I don't know, I know Jimmy called me over the weekend and I haven't got back with him, so I'll find out what his plans are
And it needs to be solid tile.
Yes.
In the- I would want in the woods at least.
Yeah.
So can I show you what we thought they should?
Which, yeah, we talked about not going.
See, this is all woods. All this is woods. They ought to start at the open ditch, stay out here in the field, and then go into the woods.
Right.
From here in, have it solid, because that's, even if we do get it 50 foot wide.
Yeah.
I ain't saying the tree roots.
Yeah,
aren't
they'll
gonna
still
get
come
to
in.
it.
Yep, that's the plan, to run it straight up north from the open ditch. and
Because
then
it's all
cut-
the same
cut over.
elevation. You might as well stay out in the field so you know that's the hard skid.
Yep.
And I think that's what they're gonna do.
Planning on doing.
To run it the way it is now, you gotta tear out more trees.
Right.
How does that affect, like, do we need approval from this property owner to do that? Since we're technically
Since you're rerouting.
encumbering more field under the,
Paul
the
Kyle's
easement.
good with it. Ron Gunn's good with it. I know. And Denny Wolf. Which Denny Wolf farms Carl Wilson's ground. So.
Yeah.
Just
making sure, because our only, you know, we are moving the tile more into
Right.
the field, it's more under the right of way, not right of way,
Right.
but right of entry.
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta have a motion for that, for you to go ahead and.
Well, I've got a motion for the public hearing, so I can
So
throw
you
that
can
all
count it,
into
okay.
it. Yeah, got it.
Good deal. Okay.
Got it. Great job, Jenny.
Try and reach out to Kyle for,
They'll have, they're getting his signature on their owner funded.
Paul.
Paul and wherever else it's
Be ready for
So
the
as
spray
long as the
discussion.
signature's on there and it shows the
Do we have to vote on
realignment.
it?
If they have everything.
We're good.
Okay.
Get
Right.
there.
I think Brad's handling this trade discussion, I think.
You weren't kidding when you talked to me this morning, were you?
You said,
We're not done yet.
you said you have a motion, right?
Yes, I had the motion, you seconded, everybody approved the public hearing, and I'll throw that in.
Okay, so we're good.
That owner funded to be
Okay.
approved as long as they're with our specs.
There you go.
Yeah.
Next.
Yes.
I would like to talk about the Denner E. I don't know if we put that on theirs or not.
No, it's just on
Okay.
yours.
I'm sorry, Brad. It's been a rough day. So the Denner E is down here down 400. Is that by the Jefferson Farm, Jimmy? I don't know.
Can't remember.
So what we do, we have some people, we raised the assessment already. I believe, oh gosh, this was a last minute one also. Brad gets down there, I can.
Is it the right place?
You're at 400, where's 400, there's 500. There's the GEARIN, there's the Denner E, there you go. So, you got Dwayne Clark, McCoy's.
Oh, yeah, and we cleared through Ross.
So we raised the assessment on this one last year, I believe. It has $2,300 on hand. It collects $96.37. What our problem is, we talked about this before, we have some people with septic systems having trouble because this is all flooding. We came through here, we opened this up and made an open ditch through the woods because we had to get some water away from these people's septic systems, their basements, houses. So I think what we're trying to do is possibly ask to go in the red for 3.5 years to get us up to, and that's where I need Jenny to find out if we talk to the woods or through the woods. I can't remember
I
where.
think we went to the south side of the woods.
I don't have a total.
From the, where it ended up to the south side.
I don't
of the
have
woods.
a footage, but we wanted to run from here up to here.
2,000 feet, maybe.
Because
That's
the water.
2,200.
It's 2,200.
Straighten it out a little
Pretty
bit.
close. Yeah.
So we were looking to go in the red for 3.5 years possibly to get this water moving. I think on the bottom side of that woods where we opened it up, I was out there last week, the tile is full. We do have some water still running through the open ditch. But all through here is just the same thing. It's no good. It's junk tile, collapsed, suck holes, broke down. So I'm hoping if we get to that point there, we'll get some relief up on the north side there of 400. I was gonna go out with the tile locator, dig up over here and see, there are some trees through here. So I was gonna go up, dig them up, run the locator and see. I'm sure we have some blockage up there also. It's been flooded for 2 weeks up there, I believe. I believe his name is Crary. He came in to ask if he could put a culvert under his driveway to try to run the water to the east. So he's here. This is all flooded. He just wanted to run the water over there, which I said, we can't really do that. I mean, he would, with the elevations, he would be dumping it right on his neighbor, which is a farm field, which then they're not gonna be able to get into. So, I guess our request is 3.5 years at $37,400.
How much?
$37,400.
What's that thing collect?
It collects $9,637. So roughly 3.5 years.
Yeah.
They've been pretty patient up there. There is, I don't know, to the west there's a pond with, I don't know. Once we get into this area, I'm not really sure. It's all overgrown. It's a swamp. It's a pond. I don't know if their water is part of the reason coming over.
Is that the one that has the house behind the pond?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is a whole mess right
That
there.
is.
I found a standpipe in the fence row last week. It was full. So.
It's your pleasure, guys.
We replaced the pink, and you're still paying on it, or is it paid off? That's why we're in the red?
That's actually a different drain.
Oh.
That's the Gainware H, I think, because it starts at the open ditch and then goes west, and the Denner starts where the pink ends and goes north.
We are not in the red at all right now. We have $2,300 in there.
Collecting the
In
gain
Denver.
too.
We're in the good, yes.
Okay.
Because we collect the gain.
So, 3.5 years is
Yeah.
kind of there, but,
Break the gain we're out.
Yeah, we haven't stopped.
Do you like to collect a year before you go in the red usually, or?
Well, not necessarily.
I mean, we try not to raise it and then, but,
Yeah.
I mean, we're just getting so many bad tiles, so many problems around the county.
We're just creeping up.
Well, we did collect it this year, so we'll get some money into it this spring.
Which that got us out of the red, I believe.
Is that what happened? Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, like you said, they're just all creeping up on us, and
And our GDI fund isn't that bad right
Yeah, the
now.
GDI fund is sitting
So,
pretty well.
I think we can probably do that without any problem. Get those people taken care of, keep moving them out of the way.
yeah, because there's a lot more coming.
Let's move. Okay, Max. Okay.
So, okay,
So we just need.
Motion.
Oh, yeah, need a motion, guys. Yeah.
Make a motion to have a hearing on the Denner E 13000B.
We'll just do it to
go in the red.
To go in the red.
Go in the
Three and a
red.
half
Go in the
years.
red.
Yep.
Yep.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded on the Denner E that we go ahead and go in the red for 3-4 years.
Yes.
Whatever it takes to get the resolve.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried.
I think that concludes mine.
You sure?
I'm
Check your notes.
I'm gonna let Brad take over.
It's not quite lunchtime yet.
Yeah. I was just gonna bring up the tile spray program, which
Yes.
we have been kicking around. It doesn't necessarily need a vote this time. Didn't even take the time to collect my thoughts on any bullet points, but we need to, I guess, stop kicking it around and pick it up and run it in. So I guess at this point, we have, what was it, 15 or so drains that we have identified that need to be put into it. I guess some things we'll need to decide on. Is it going to be a yearly program or every other year program? Are we going to introduce programs where if people don't want it sprayed and they agree to keep it mowed? Will we have that as a possibility?
That's a nightmare, isn't it,
But
Max?
I'm kind of even finding out, even some of it's mowed, those little water
Sapling
seeking
things that
are
started.
getting, I just had one out on 5 last week. It was this big around, and time it got down there, it had a
Oh,
rut. So I'm hoping if we make them spray it, even if they do mow it, I mean, it needs to be almost, if it's gonna be mowed, it has to be mowed, not just bush hogged. Something that will really take care of it.
If we're spraying it, will we maintain a grass mix
Yeah,
on it?
yeah.
It's something we should decide too. We spray the ditches, but we seed the ditches with the grass mix. Should we
You
do
spray
something
brush
similar
killer,
on
you're
the-
not spraying Roundup.
Correct, it's the brush and
Kill
whatever.
the brush, you'll get grass. You know.
What's
If
that?
we kill the brush, the
Then the
grass
grass
is
will
gonna
come up.
grow.
Okay. And there is a lot of grass in those areas. It's just we're getting all those little viney, I don't know what kind of trees they are, but.
I think a lot of the problem we see with that is we put in a new tile and then the people don't want to do anything, and then it just grows right back up. We have a property that we farm that's that exact way. We put in a new tile and they don't want to maintain anything. They don't want us to maintain it, and it's a problem.
So I think there's even gonna be some tiles, which we've had a couple in the past that we've had to go out and hire somebody to bush hog. Some of these tiles, we get calls and they want them done. So I think we still need to probably, along with the spray program, probably some areas that they don't take care of if we do have to bush hog them or whatever. But yeah, we need to definitely.
So if you bush hog them, is that gonna be at their expense? No, just do it anyway.
I mean, we'll ask them if they would pay for it. I think we've done that in the past, and some of them have, and then some of them haven't. So we send somebody out. But yeah, I think.
Well, I think we need a better spray program than we got. We got to have some teeth in this stuff because
We need to.
we've had some issues in the past that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
We don't need to
it's
deal with.
$100,000 a couple years later because
Yeah.
it's all plugged up. So
Yeah.
But also some of
for us.
these drains also though don't have enough money in to maintain themselves, let alone
Yeah.
a spray on top of it. So I think we're gonna have a lot more of assessment raising just for maintenance, probably.
Well, we're living in a different time right now, and with the economy like it is, we're gonna get behind if we don't keep on it, and then we're gonna really have a problem.
So, like I said,
We'll try and put something together for
Yeah.
next month, like actually on paper, I guess.
See
Yeah,
if we can
give us
maybe
something to look at.
Chad Baker, maybe, if he can give us some kind of rough idea what
Yeah.
it's gonna cost, because we don't know. I mean, I guess we have a price per foot on the open ditches, but I do think he said something about he would change his mixture for over tiles.
What is it for the open ditch?
Crossbow.
Just like
Per
general idea,
foot?
yeah.
I don't. That's a good question.
I
Could be
can't
hotter,
tell you.
I would think, when it's
Okay.
an open ditch. If you'd like to come up to the office afterwards.
I will be up there. Don't worry.
I'll find it for you right away.
Knows right where it's at. That's all. Yeah, I think that's
it, you sure?
about it. Besides, like I said, you know, Steve was kind of bringing up, we had talked to him about some of these tiles just bringing up for maintenance reasons and not so much have to go in depth of, okay, suck holes and we need to make a repair and just, I think we need to probably get a few of these and just put them out for hearing.
Program, yeah. Okay. Anything else, you guys? Anything else? Mac, you sure?
Done.
Okay. Jennifer?
Nothing at all.
Okay. Meeting adjourned then.